Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over one of the best weapon and ammo combinations in patch 12.12 of Escape From Tarkov. Now this is going to be pretty similar to my last P90 video where the build for the weapon is going to be the least important part and the more important parts are going to be the ammo we're using and how we are able to get large amounts of that ammo. And as you can see, this is going to be for the MP7. So we're going to go over the build first because that is pretty simple. So first off, for the sight, I use the EOTech XP-S30. I think it's one of the best sights in the game, but you can use whatever sight you like, any lower medium range sight. Then we're going to be using a front and a rear sight. I use the Magpul M-Bus Gen 2s. Whatever front and rear sights give +1 ergo, that's the cheapest. Go ahead and get those. We don't have any other options for the stock. Then for the magazine, we'll go over that when we go over the ammo. Then for the grip, I'm using the Stark SE5. This pretty much replaces the Fortis Shift Tactical Grip from last wipe, so it is the best combination of good recoil with having good ergo. Then we're going to be having a tactical device. You can use whatever tactical device you want. I use the D-Ball. If you just want to use a flashlight and get something that's cheaper, that's fine as well. That's pretty much just up to personal preference. Then we're going to have the MP7 flash hider that comes on pretty much every MP7 unless someone takes it off. Then we're going to have the BNT Rotex 2 sound suppressor, and that's the entirety of the actual build for the weapon. Incredibly simple. There's not much you get to do with the build itself. Now the magazines for the MP7 are one of the hardest parts to get because they can be very expensive if you don't have the correct vendor rank. So to get the 30 rounders, you're actually going to need mechanic rank 3. And once you have mechanic rank 3, the 30 rounders are very cheap, 6,700, and you can get quite a bit of these every reset. So you really shouldn't run out of magazines, at least of 30 rounders, once you get to rank 3 mechanic. If you don't have rank 3 mechanic, people are wanting around 40k for 30 rounders, which is really expensive. At that point, it's probably not going to be worth to use this weapon because the magazines are just going to be too expensive. So I'd recommend getting at least mechanic 3 to start using it. 30 rounders are a bit lower, but if you play a bit more safe and with the knowledge you only have 30 rounders, you shouldn't have too much issues. But then there's also 40 rounders. Now I don't have rank 4 mechanic yet either, and that's what you're going to need to get 40 rounders. And once you get rank 4 mechanic, you can buy 12 40 rounders for 13,000 a piece every reset. So the magazines are incredibly cheap and really good. If you don't have rank 4 mechanic, they're going to be 58,000, almost 60,000 for 40 rounders. And I would probably not recommend buying any of these 40 rounders. If you're going to be running and say you have rank 3 mechanics, so you have a bunch of 30 rounders, what you can also do that I think can help quite a bit is have 1 40 rounder. So pay the money for 1 40 rounder, then have 4 or 5 extra 30 rounders. I think this can help quite a bit because between fights, you can refill the 40 rounder. So you can always start off a fight with a bit more ammo in your magazine. And also before we look at the ammo, with this build that I went over, we have 50 ergo and 43 vertical recoil. So the weapon itself has pretty good stats just at a baseline. And also something to know with the MP7 that they're only going for around 45,000 because they're so common to get in weapon boxes and in marked rooms. And comparing this to the last P90 video I went over, the ammo is going to be pretty similar when we go over it, but the weapon itself is less than half of the price of those P90s. So this is going to be quite a bit cheaper compared to going with the P90. But like I mentioned, getting the magazines is going to be quite a bit harder. Now, the most important part of this video in using this weapon is going to be your ammo choice. And similar to the P90, there is a very good ammo choice that makes a weapon handle a lot better. And that is going to be the Subsonic SX. Now, you need rank 3 of mechanic to get this. And this stuff was actually incredibly good and a lot of people were buying it. So only like a week ago, you were able to buy 600 of this ammo every reset. And that's at 372 rubles per round. But everyone was buying it. It would be out of stock within the first couple minutes of mechanic resetting. So now you can only buy 400, and I think they increased the stock. So you're usually able to buy 400 most of the time. Even right now, halfway through the reset, you're still able to buy 400. So once you have rank 3 in mechanic, you shouldn't have an issue getting your 400 every single time. And that's quite a bit of ammo. Being able to buy 400 ammo every single reset, and with it being an incredibly strong bullet, you're able to keep as much ammo as you're going to need most of the time. Now, the reason this bullet is so strong is because of the buffs it gets. So on the Subsonic SX, you get 10+% accuracy, minus 22 recoil, which is massive. Then you get minus 20% durability burn, which is how quick the durability of the weapon is used when firing it, and minus 12% heat. So that means the weapon overheats much more slowly, which means you'll not have as many malfunctions as a bullet that has higher heat. And the MPX spraying out bullets actually doesn't overheat that quickly, especially with Subsonic. You can spray like 120 rounds through it before it starts to get to the highest overheat stage. You can spray this thing quite a bit without having any overheating issues. And I want to compare this to another round that's very similar to it that you can also get from rank 3 Peacekeeper, and that is the FMJ SX. Now, as you see, FMJ SX doesn't get any of the buffs that Subsonic gets. It doesn't get accuracy, doesn't get recoil reduction, and doesn't get durability burn or heat buffs. So it's kind of like a baseline bullet. Now, going to the actual stats of these bullets, Subsonic is 45 base damage and FMJ SX is 43 base damage. So very similar in the base damage. And then for the pen, they can both pen up to class 6. FMJ has slightly higher pen, but they both pen incredibly well up to class 4. And then they taper off a little bit at class 5, class 6. FMJ is just slightly higher pen on everything, but only slightly. And up to class 4, Subsonic is still going to pen pretty much every shot and still going to have middle pen on class 5 and class 6, which most people don't have right now. So just for slightly lower pen, but a slightly higher base damage, you get all of these massive buffs, which includes minus 22 to the recoil, which as we went over, this thing already has a 43 vertical recoil. So this thing is going to be sitting at 21 vertical recoil. Very controllable. You can spray this out very easily and still get on target. And comparing the Subsonic to APSX, which is the best bullet for this caliber, you'll see APSX actually has a plus 10 recoil, so the weapon's going to be much harder to spray at medium ranges, and it has plus 50% durability burn, so your weapon's just going to be shredding through its durability. After a couple raids, you're going to have to get a new weapon essentially, and then at plus 10% heat. So compared to Subsonic SX, this actually has 70% increased durability burn compared to Subsonic and 22% increased heat compared to Subsonic. So you're not able to spray near as much higher recoil, and the durability of the gun goes much quicker. Now, comparing the stats of these bullets, APSX is actually at 35 base damage, so 10 less than Subsonic, but APSX pretty much has top pen on everything. It actually has maxed out pen up to class 5, then class 6 it's only slightly lower. So this thing is clearly going to be quite a bit better against higher tier armors, but like I mentioned, most people aren't running class 5, class 6, so if that's the case, you're going up against class 4 or lower, Subsonic is just better in terms of damage because it still pens class 4 so well. So that is the entirety of the build for the MP7, where you get the magazines and comparing the different ammo types. So I'd very much recommend trying out an MP7 with this build, getting yourself a bunch of Subsonic and going and running this thing. I think still right now, most people are still probably going to be running class 4, rarely class 5, and you're going to be shredding absolutely everybody with the MP7 and Subsonic rounds, and it's going to have a very low recoil, so you're going to be able to spray out bullets on target very easily. But that's pretty much all I want to go over for this build. So subscribe if you want to see more Escape from Tarkov or other FPS videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this MP7, and thanks for watching.
Левый коронный, правый покоронный. Ах ты хер ебуть! На, блядь, живи тут! Ах ты ебагла! Чё, забыл, кто тебе батон Вон он, блядь, ебашь его! Как барыгам, а потом по бабам. Живый на! Вон, блядь! Ебать его! Вон он, блядь! Шалава! О, вижу их! Вон он, блядь, ебашь его! Пацаны!